Hey, it's Monday again. I missed you all. I hope you had a great week operating in some of the principles that we looked at last week, echoing the sound of heaven into your family, into your home. If you did do that, I guarantee it would have been a better week because that sound is something that makes everything better around that sound. Well, this week, let's go again. Let's be motivated again for another incredible week ahead because God does have an incredible week for you. He didn't promise that we wouldn't have trouble, but he did say he'd be in it with us. And he did say he'd work all things together for our good. So whatever this week holds, you can set off into Monday knowing that God's gone before you and it's going to be okay. All right. So this week, I want us to consider this. I want you to choose this Monday, life. I know you might be like, okay, that's kind of basic. Well, it is and it isn't, because the fact is we are all right now in a season after everything we've been through, after all that's happening in the world, where I think a lot of us are like, really? This is life? Really? This is what my life now looks like? Really? This is what life's come to? I think a lot of people more than ever before are asking the question, what really is going on? What is my life all about? And that is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Whenever there's a shaking, it means that there are things that get asked that maybe it's a long time since we asked some questions that really need to be revisited. So today, my question to you is, what does your life look like? What life are you living? Is it the life that God said is available to you? Or do you think you should go a little deeper, a little further, and realize that there is so much more? That's good news this Monday. There is so much more. It says in John 14:6, it's a well-known verse, but let me say it to you again. He is the way, he is the truth, and he is the life. Jesus is life, and that life is on the inside of you. Your life is not the life around you. Your life begins with the life inside of you. When you came to him, you got a brand new life. When you asked him into your world, your world changed. You were reborn with a life that actually is not like the life that other people may lead without Christ. And today, maybe you've forgotten that. Maybe you're living your life like this is the best it'll ever be. This is all I'm ever going to have. No, you are a child of God, and that life, that Jesus life, is on the inside of you. And so let me read this to you from Ephesians 4. It says this: everything connected with that old way of life has to go. It's rotten through and through. Get rid of it. Look how the Bible's telling us that's on us. You see, God, he can give us his life, but we have to get rid of the old stuff. He can forgive us, but we have to move the old rubbish out. It's not good for us. So he says, you get rid of it. And then take on an entirely new way of life. A God-fashioned life. A life renewed from the inside and working itself into your conduct as God accurately reproduces his character in you. Listen to that again. You can have a God-fashioned life renewed from the inside and working itself so that you reproduce God's character. That is the life that you are called to live. That is the Jesus life that is available to you. So my question is that the life you're living? Are you living that kind of Jesus life? The life that the Bible also tells us is a life that is full to overflowing. John 10:6 says, this is a life that's better than you could have dreamed of. A life that is abundant. Is that your life? You might say, my life is not abundant. There is lack in my life. There is limitation in my life. Okay, so let's think of it this way. If Jesus, the giver of life, is in you and has given you life, then he is without limit, which means that the Jesus life inside of you has access to that life that is within him. So ask yourself this question at the beginning of this week. What do I need more of in my life? What is it that I am lacking that's stopping me having a life that is overflowing? Do you have a lack of joy? Do you have a lack of peace? Do you have a lack of trust? Do you have a lack of provision? Do you have a lack of relationships that are good in your world? Whatever it is, I'm telling you now, that answer is found in the life that you have in Jesus. He lacks nothing. He has peace that passes understanding. He has joy that is your strength. He has wisdom for the days ahead. He has all of that inside him, and that life is inside you. Let me put it this way. Maybe my female friends will appreciate this analogy a little more, although maybe the male listeners will too. Imagine for a moment that I said to you, here you go. Here's a credit card, and it is fully loaded. It will never run out. You can get whatever you want on this card. You can take it to whatever store you want, and it is good. Now, I don't think for a moment that you would be still listening to me. You'd be like, thank you very much. Press stop. Off you go. You would know exactly what you wanted to do, whether it was book a holiday, buy a car, buy a house, go get food, go get groceries, give it away. I don't know, but there would be an instant inside of you. Yes and amen. I am going to go and max that card out because there's no limit. It's not going to run out. The source is good. So if we understand that in the natural, let's think about our lives in the spiritual. God has given you a blank check. He has given you access to his heavenly resources. He has given you access to his peace, to his understanding, to his joy. He has given you an access. The source is good. So I ask you again, what are you lacking in your life? And now you have to ask yourself, why am I not making a withdrawal? Why am I not going and withdrawing from that life that God has given me? We have to get busy withdrawing, making some downloads of what God has for us instead of just eking by in life as if this life, this limited life, is the only life source we have. You know, Jesus took life everywhere, real life everywhere. Remember the story that we find in the Bible about the woman at the well? And we find her story, and she's sat at the well, and she's trying to get water, and she's trying to get a resource, and she's trying to get something that will just satisfy her thirst. Do you know how many people in life right now are thirsty? They're thirsty for real life. They're thirsty for that provision. And this woman, she's sat at this well, and she's drawing water, and Jesus shows up in John 4. He shows up. First of all, he shouldn't have been in that place. He shouldn't have been at that well. He shouldn't have been talking to that woman. I mean, she was a Samaritan. They didn't even mix with Samaritans. But that's what I love about Jesus. His life doesn't have a barrier. His life doesn't say, you're not my type of person. His life doesn't say we can't mix because we're a racial division between us. His life goes everywhere. So Jesus goes to her, and she's sat at the well, and she's trying to draw water. And then he says this to her. He says, I have a water, I have a well, I have a supply. And if you pull from this supply, you'll never thirst again. He says, anyone who drinks the water I give will never thirst, not ever. The water I give will be an artesian spring within, gushing fountains of endless life. Jesus answered her, if you knew the generosity of God and who I am, you would be asking me for a drink, and I would give you fresh, living water. The woman said, sir, give me this water so I won't ever get thirsty, and I won't ever have to come back to this well again. Can I let you know that there are people in our world right now who are so thirsty. Maybe you feel that way. So thirsty and tired of trying to draw water from the wells. Wells like people's approval to give them the water of life. Wells of their work and their resources to give them the water of life. They are tired from drawing from wells that will never ever satisfy. And it's our job to go and let them know there's a well, there's a water supply, there's an artesian spring that can be inside of you. It's called the life of Jesus. You know, I understand this analogy maybe better than most. Because what you probably don't know about me is that I have a rare condition in that I can't hold any water in my body. Now, for many years of my life, I didn't know what was wrong with me. I was just severely ill. And I actually had this constant thirst that I could never quench. I would drink liters of water during the day, liters of water during the night, and it would go in one end and out the other. I couldn't hold on to any water. And if you know what that's like, if you know what it's like to have severe thirst, and if you know what it's like to not actually be able to quench your thirst, you'll know it's very dangerous. In fact, it's deadly. And I had a few scares, some really bad scares, because my body went into severe dehydration. And when you get into dehydration, everything shuts down. Everything stops to function, and you can die from dehydration. And so I understand this picture of thirst. I understand this picture of dehydration, maybe more than most. And what I realize is, if I felt that in the natural, how sad must it be to live a life where you are thirsting and you never have your thirst quenched, where you are desperate for water, but the water never satisfies. How desperate must people be that live in a place where they're dehydrated of hope, where they're dehydrated of even a vision for their future, where they're dehydrated of peace. It's deadly. It is not good. And God said we have to be the carriers of that life. We have to tap in to his life so we can bring his life to those around us. There are people around you right now who need you to tell them about the living waters. There are people around you right now that need you to tell them that there is something other than the well that they keep trying to pull from. So my challenge to you this week is, what kind of life are you living? Are you living a life that's just getting by? Are you living a life that's just getting the job done, paying the bills, getting the kids to school? Are you living a life that actually comes from the inside of you? The life that he gave his son for you to live. The life that is supposed to be overflowing, abundant, and a source that never runs dry. What is more a picture of your life? A dry well, or a pulling from wells, or a constant spring from the inside? Whichever one is more like your life, then I'm saying to you, let's make the changes so that all of us move to an ever-increasing understanding that we have a river of life within us, that we have living waters, that we don't have to pull from all the places other people do. And more than that, let's have an understanding, therefore, this week, that there are thirsty people all around us, people that are dehydrated, near to death spiritually, and we are the ones that get to go up to the well that they are sat at and say, let me tell you about another place where you can draw life from. Let me tell you about waters that will never run dry. This week is a week for you to not just receive that life afresh, step into that life afresh, but also give that life away. So my challenge to you this week is to tap into that life, but secondly, then to go take that life to others. You know, there's never been a time when people are more thirsty for hope, thirsty for truth, thirsty for love. You get to be the one that says, let me help you. I remember when I was so sick and so dehydrated, I saw so many doctors and no one knew what was wrong. No one could cure me. It was so frustrating. And then finally one day somebody said, I think it might be this. And they named it and they told me what I could do to help me manage the condition I had. It was a game changer. And when you go to someone and say, I know you're searching in all the wrong places. I know you're looking for this approval. I know you're trying to just get by. But let me tell you about a source that I've discovered. It's a game changer. It's a life changer. You know the life giver. So take that life to others this week. So this Monday, first of all, I want you to step into that abundant life. I want you to make a withdrawal from the one that is the supply. I want you to pull down all the things you feel you need right now in life, because he is good for it. He is a source that doesn't run dry. And then this week, I want you to put it into practice and go find thirsty people. Go find dehydrated hope, souls of hope, and go say, let me pour into you. And this week, whether it's through a text, an email, whether it's atting them to watch this, I don't know what you need to do, but put life in their way, put life words in their path, and let them see that there is another alternative than the life that they maybe feel is all it's ever gonna be. No, there is a life beyond that, the Jesus life, and you have that. So step into it and step out in it. This week, I got so excited, I need a drink. I'm thirsty. Have a great rest of the week. I love you all. Have a great week of giving life and receiving life. You're the best. I'll see you same time, same place next week.